Good evening, everyone. Here we are. It's the Fruit Nut News on, of course, what day are we today? Saturday. It's the Fruit Nut Bombers. So, good evening, everyone. Here we are. It is, of course, the Fruit Nut News on, of course, Saturday, the 7th of March, 2026. Getting very interesting, getting very confusing as well. So, I think we should really all prepare ourselves for a roller coaster of a ride. Oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen, a sheer roller coaster of a ride. So, Saturday evening. Not sure what you're doing. A few people on, so just have a quick hello to everybody. Jackie J's in, Lisa McCulloch's in, Strong Willed is in, Brenda's in, Looney Lena's in, Sarah Young's in, Yvonne Keeley's in, Glenn Pearson's in, Melanie's in, Bill Giles is in, Kira's in, John Brink is in, and Sylvia Trotter's joining us tonight. So, good evening, everyone. Hope we're all okay. So let's get up to speed. Let's get up to speed. So what have we got to tell you? Well, Keir Starmer, of course, after doing more U-turns than a motorway sign, he's decided that bombers are allowed to land in the UK. And apparently this is for the really big one. Now, originally, of course, Starmer refused, was, of course, lambasted by Donald Trump, of course, as you well know. And, and then all of a sudden he's done another U-turn. Of course, he's U-turned on Diego Garcia as well. Very interesting little island that. Was it MH370 happened to be there? Yes, you probably didn't know about that, but you fucking well do now. And if you don't know about it, you will be knowing about it very, very shortly, because it's all going to come out. Meanwhile, in Hungary, the actual country, detained 7 Ukrainians. One of them looked like Zelensky's brother, but a lot smaller. Apparently, they had £40 million in cash, 9 kilos of gold, as you do. And apparently, since January, $1.3 billion has moved through Hungary from Ukraine. Of course, it's not taxpayers' money. It's not British taxpayers' money. No. Now, if you're moving 1.3 billion in less than 3 months, you're certainly going to need the UK to send you some more cash. Because, of course, you're fucking running out fast. Know what I mean? Now, has anybody noticed that there's a massive shift going on? It probably hasn't come to your attention yet, but anyway, there seems to be a separation of people, and this, of course, is people that have either awake or waking up, or I don't know what they're doing. Some of them are still fast asleep, unfortunately, which is fine. They will be forced to wake up at some stage. Now, we've got the Iran Stargate 10 that we spoke about the other day. There's various other Stargates around the world. So we'll have a little bit more of an intimate chat about that later. But there's definitely a massive shift, not only of energies, but also of frequencies. You may have noticed. Now, did you see? Did you see Keir Starmer at a local stroking event? Did you see this? I was embarrassed. I was really, really embarrassed. I think it was the ambassador of, was it the ambassador of Palestine? No, of Israel. It must have been Israel. I don't know. I'm just trying to look down my notes here. I've got it written down somewhere. Oh, that was it. The Palestinian ambassador. He was stroking. He was proper stroking Keir Starmer. I mean, I was embarrassed, and I wasn't even in the room. I mean, they looked like a couple of very close gay men that were stroking one another's arms. I mean, the Palestinian ambassador was probably whispering his hotel room number in Starmer's ear. You could literally see Starmer get a twitch on as he was leaning into his ear. So God knows what was said, but it proves one thing. Starmer has to be the most popular gay man on the planet. Fucking hell. Ah, dear. Now, meanwhile, of course, we just wanted to take you back to 2002, and a guy called Mr. Tony Blair. Now, you will all know Brendan Linden, that got done by, I think it was Westminster Police, for being obscene in a public toilet. Very interesting. Linden changed his name just so that it wasn't on the public records. But, of course, we all knew about that one. And then, of course, there was the Is Tony Blair involved in the Epstein files? Well, yes, of course he fucking is. He's part of the gang. Don't you get it? This is a gang. This is a big, big gang. It's a big pedo ring, okay? It's a big snuff movie ring. Whatever you want to call it. It's a big ring, okay? And Tony Blair hosted Jeffrey Epstein around about 2002. And clearly Epstein has written about Tony being on the island, as you well know. What you probably didn't know, that before the Iraq war kicked off, Tony was brokering deals over oil with BP and Esso. Now, Tony Blair is also linked to Peter Mandelson, as you well know, who seems to be the only one at this particular moment in time that has been arrested, even though there's outstanding information in regards to King Andrew. Very interesting. Now, Tony Blair also issued in the PFI scandal. This, of course, if you don't know about this, this is publicly funded investments where councils and police and fire services and NHS are all charged exorbitant amount of money for building of the building of a building, and of course, Tony Blair gets a lot of kickbacks on this. Very, very interesting. As an example, James Cook Hospital near me, which is a major trauma centre, air ambulance, etc., etc. Their building, when it was built a few years ago now, it was 100 and I'm going to say 150 million as a round figure. Okay. It was built by a company called Carillion that's since gone bust. How convenient is that? And the deal that they brokered on this was a £65 million a year rent for 33 years. Now, I don't know about you. Get your calculators out and work that out, okay? Because if the NHS, if the trust had gone to the bank and borrowed 150 million, built the building, they would have been able to pay for that building within 3 years, easily within 3 years. Unfortunately, they are now saddled with a £65 million a year rent. And not only that, they've also signed up to a very lucrative maintenance contract. Not, of course, that is going to be lucrative for the NHS. No, it's going to be lucrative for the maintenance company, who just happened to be Carillion at the time. I've got no idea who's taken that over, and I don't really care. But, of course, the people that are running our country are absolutely, I don't even know what word to use. Crazy, mentally retarded, ill, mentally ill. I just don't know. I'm just past it all. It's just unbelievable. So, since, of course, then, we now have Palantir on the scene. Now, Tony Blair was linked to Palantir back in the day. And, of course, it seems as though Tony Blair's son is running a digital company that just happened to be in negotiations with Palantir for, of course, the CBCDC, the digital ID. How convenient is that? Stroke my cock and we can be friends. Know what I mean? That's very interesting, isn't it? The plot thickens, ladies and gentlemen. The plot thickens. Now, what was I watching today? Oh yeah, I was watching a little clip today on YouTube, I think it was. And I think it was a company in India or something, and they were making lorry rims for lorries, okay? And, I'm a bit like engineering. That's what I used to do, mechanics on heavy lorries. And so I was a bit interested. I was watching it. But what I was noticing most of all, I was noticing all the equipment that the Indians were using. And all of the equipment, of course, was old-fashioned heavy industry from the UK. Because I don't know whether you can remember, but we used to actually make rims. We used to actually make tyres. We used to actually make carrots and peas, and we used to grow our own rice. And we used to make our own clothes. Marks and Spencer's was built on the back of English clothing, if you can remember that far back. We used to do a lot of other things, like we used to make cars and we used to make lorries, and we used to have a massive infrastructure base. You'll remember back in the time when we used to mine our own coal. We used to drill our own oil. But of course the government put stop to that. So now what we do is we buy coal from Australia, and we buy fuel and all that kind of thing from the same companies that are drilling in the North Sea. Now, once again, you might say madness. Yes, I could use a lot better words than madness. And what I noticed about all the equipment, of course, was from British heavy engineering back in the day. So, of course, you can see what the British colonial arseholes have done. They basically sold all of our engineering skills to the Indians. And, of course, they've done that for cheaper labour, of course, so that, of course, they can make more dollar for your money. And so that the shareholders can get more dollars. Know what I'm saying? Somewhere along the line, somebody's getting very, very lots more dollars, okay? because at the expense of somebody. Remember, dollars have to come from somewhere, okay? And we, of course, are seeing that in regards to the £10,000 that is now being given to migrants to go home. Yes, you can get £10,000 if you voluntarily go home. Right, okay, £10,000 doesn't sound a lot. Think about how much £10,000 would be worth in Afghanistan, or maybe Iraq, or Iran, or Syria, or the Yemen, when the average worker's wage is probably about £1,500 a year, ladies and gentlemen. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? It sure does make you wonder. And what else have we got? Now, this also as well links to Palantir that I spoke about. And this, of course, is the British police, who happen to be massively corrupted. Not only the Met Police, but I would imagine lots of other polices across the country. Now, here's the question, okay? Epstein flew in females, not sure what the ages are. He flew in a lot of other people, and apparently it was up to a guy called John Yates to basically go through the paperwork and make sure these people were who they say they were. Now, John is an interesting character, because John was also in charge of royal protection. That's very interesting, isn't it? Okay, isn't that very interesting? That Jeffrey Epstein flies in. John, of course, is in charge of the Royal Protection Squad. And Andrew just happens to have done all that stuff that we know about, and probably a lot more stuff that we don't know about. And the connections to Palantir. Now, what's the connection to Palantir, Mark? Well, you may ask what the connections are to Palantir. Well, the interesting thing about Palantir is that 3 or 4 police forces across the UK are, of course, implementing Palantir facial recognition systems, etc., 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 etc. Obviously, Palantir are linked to Tony Blair and, of course, the digital CBDC. There you go. It's all connected. Now, remember Crescenda Dick? Oh, Crescenda Dick. Didn't last very long, did old Crescenda, did she? No, because she wasn't fucking doing the job properly, that's why. And so where is Crescenda Dick now? And then, of course, after Crescenda, we had Mark Rowley, who has only managed to arrest Epstein at the moment. Mandelson. And, of course, Andrew is still on the loose. The royal paedophile. Very interesting. And it's all, ladies and gentlemen, it's all swings and roundabouts. They're all in the club. But unfortunately, the club is having a very hard time at the moment, and is basically dropping like a fucking stone. What's that little saying in the Bible? The Bible. Let me just think about that saying for a second. He who touches God's children may as well have a millstone around his neck. Remember that little Bible story? Yeah? He who touches God's children, okay, may as well have a millstone attached to his neck. Now, very, very interesting. We'll do a bit more of that stuff later. What else have we got? Now, you may or may not know, of course, that JFK was, of course, assassinated by the Israelis. Might be news to you at the moment. It's not news to us, but anyway, yes. So the Zionist Israelis, who hide behind the Jewish protection label, of course, behind it's all in the Epstein files. This is all the stuff that hasn't come out yet. Now there was 2 years went missing somewhere along the line. So very, very interesting. So and of course Israel as well, as you all know, are behind most things in the world. Can you remember recently, of course, when we think about was it October the 7th, when the Iron Dome just happened to be turned off, and of course apparently Hamas fighters from Palestine apparently attacked Israel. Very interesting. Then, of course, there was a war, and that war has been raging on for a number of years with many casualties. And people are now only just waking up to the fact that Israel are not who they appear to be. Very interesting. Now, of course, we've got the Iranian situation. Oh, just going back to 9/11. Somebody said to me, how could they have demolished the 9/11 building? Well, it's very easy to demolish steel when you use a product called thermalite dynamite. Yes, when you see what that stuff can do, you don't want to be carrying any around in your pocket, and you certainly don't want it in any of your bangers. And I'm not talking about hooters, I'm talking about bangers. Now, Iran is ancient Persia, as you well know. You should have worked that one out by now. Now, is Iran, this is, of course, the Abaddon Gate, Stargate number 10. Apparently, it is not allowing the divine masculine and the divine feminine to do what they are supposed to do, which is basically get on and like each other. Now, the Abaddon Stargate is an access point for energy and frequencies. I told you this before. In the past, it's been taken over by fallen angels, or maybe fallen aliens. We're not quite sure. There are rumours that it is a Stargate to other worlds, etc., etc. But I think that's above most people's pay grade at the moment. We've got quite a lot of learning to do. And of course, if the Abaddon Stargate is responsible for the control of energy on the planet, it makes sense that there would be some form of a fight over who has the Abaddon Gate. Okay, so the question is, who now has the Abaddon Gate? Is Iran protecting the Abaddon Gate from outside attack because they don't want to lose control of it? Interesting. Are they protecting it because they want to carry on the rhetoric of what has been happening around the world for the last thousands of years or whatever? And of course, this this leads us to all kinds of questions. Why is Donald Trump attacking Iran along with Israel? Now, remember, we all know the rhetoric of Israel, and here we have a U.S. president basically working in cahoots with Israel, which leads to many interesting questions. Now, somebody said, oh, it's all down to 5D chess. Well, fucking hell, it has to be some fucking game of chess, because I can't work it out, and I don't think anybody else on the planet can work it out either. So it's going to be interesting as we move forward what the gameplay is in regards to Iran. Donald Trump's also said that he's then going after Cuba, okay, and then there's another one that he's going after, which apparently is unnamed at the moment. So it seems as though he's got some form of a kill list on the go. And then, of course, we have to, we have to think about, this Jared Kushner geezer. Now, Jared Kushner happens to be a very strange character who's married to Donald Trump's daughter. Now, so makes Donald Trump's son-in-law. Okay. Now, he's been involved in the Israeli peace deal. He's involved in the Gaza smart city, turning Gaza into a smart city. The questions get more and more and more as we go deeper into this story. And Jared is also good friends with Benjamin Netanyahu. So that also, you have to ask yourself, is Israel, they've always said Israel will be last. So is Israel America? Because it seems to me like you can actually look at it and go, well, hold on a minute. It looks like America is being run by Israel, despite all the rhetoric that's going on. So Jared Kushner's also bought the 666 building for an office. And everybody now is, of course, asking the question. Now, Jared, apparently, right, Jared is technically a civilian. And he hasn't been approved by anybody in Congress. I don't even know whether or not he's qualified to do this, but it's real, and people are starting to ask some serious questions about this. I don't know. It's all very, very interesting. It's all very interesting. Then, of course, we've got the Greenland. We got Iran. Greenland's been on the table, hasn't it? Diego Garcia's been on the table. I mean, has Greenland got a portal under it? Is there an ancient ship there? It's all been spoken about before. Is it a portal? Very, very interesting. And there's all kinds of things that are going on. And then if we come back slightly, Epstein files, apparently there's more being released. And it's pretty sick stuff. It's pretty sick stuff. Clinton Foundation, Hillary and Bill, most corrupt, I would say probably the most corrupted people probably in the world. Now remember that war produces money, bodies, gold, body parts, and it also produces orphans that can be trafficked yeah. And of course, as you well know, Wall Street relies on this corruption to keep going. Now, the last count that was done, they reckon that there's somewhere in the region of between 16 and 17 trillion missing, right? Through Wall Street. 17 trillion. That is a fucking lot of money. Now, we know that during 9/11, we know that there was about 2.4, 2.5 trillion missing. That 9/11, of course, 9/11, that, of course, has increased since then exponentially. And so that's the figure of around about 16 to 17 trillion. Absolutely unbelievable. Now, Ian Huntley, very interesting. The Soham murderer, this is the guy that killed 2 girls. It all made sense at the time, but of course it doesn't make much sense now. 2 girls apparently were found close to an RAF base. That makes you wonder, doesn't it? And Huntley was attacked in prison, and he was viciously attacked. He was sent to hospital, and he subsequently died. I think that was today. But interestingly enough, when all this happened, I think it's about 23 years ago, there was a headline in a mainstream paper, and it said, "The Soham detectives are arrested after child pornography raids." All making sense, isn't it? It's all now making sense. Getting very, very sticky for people. And it just keeps on giving. Keeps on giving. Who knows where it's all going to end? I just don't know. I just don't know. What we do know is that there is definitely some form of an operation going along somewhere along the lines. How it works out, and you know, I mean, the Iranian situation. We're definitely not being told the amount of casualties. Now, apparently, the United States have said that there's only 4 people been injured. Okay. But the Iranians have not only bombed Israel, but they've also bombed a shitload of other American bases in Kuwait, etc., Saudi Arabia, and etc. Cyprus as well. Really, 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 really interesting. So I can't see that we've only got 4 people that have been sort of, dead. I think it's going to be more. I wouldn't be surprised if it isn't in the thousands anyway. Right, ladies and gentlemen, it is, of course, Saturday night. The log burner's going. The chicken has cooked, and it's time for me to eat and become sustained, so to speak. Anyway, listen. Have a great evening. Enjoy yourself. I will try and catch up with you tomorrow for some more interesting and, of course, very exciting news. We seem to be repeating ourselves quite a lot at the moment, but it's kind of like on what I call a loop. It's like on a loop at the minute, and we need to get out of that loop. So we need something to happen to change the loop, so to speak. Because all it is at the moment is wars. Epstein. We need that to change. So let's all get our praying mats out and do some more praying. Anyway, listen, take care. Have a great evening. Love you loads. Cheers, mate.